Welcome everybody to the podcast of the Understand the Hustle podcast. I have Ali Brady here, Devin Shaw, and myself, Mark Severe here. We're here want to discuss today because this is something that's been pondering on our minds. And we've had side conversations about this, but the key topic is what is your dream worth? And we can, and honestly, with what conversation we done had already, it seems like this kind of go in different directions. And just talking to y'all guys, myself, hey, what my dream is worth, there's a lot of things that can come into it, sacrifices, times and sacrificing can go break down time spent, money, relationships, friendships, family time, and a lot of these things can come into when we're discussing about, what your dream is worth. My biggest thing, understanding in my thoughts, in order to have a dream, dream thoughts in regards to, hey, what you want to do in life, or, you know, dreams in regards of having certain, pretty much certain products that you want, cars, houses, jewelry, things in that matter, the limelight, the fans, all that in that matter. In my mind, it's all about that sacrifice of that time, biggest key, because time doesn't wait for nobody. So if you're utilizing your time to put towards your dream, yeah, it's probably gonna cut some ties with some people. I mean, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but time to me is the biggest thing, that makes this world go around. Yeah, y'all let me know. Please tell me if I'm lying.
No, for sure. Time definitely is what moves everything forward. And like what Mark was saying with the dream side of it, I mean, pretty much knowing what you want will decide how hard you work for it. Because I know just thinking the past 5 years. So I mean, currently right now, I got a family. We live in a house. We're looking at other houses. So that's the dream right now, with wanting to go with the entrepreneurship route, so I can make more money, so we can get a bigger house, better family life, all that type of stuff, having more time with the family. And I know before 5 years ago, my dream wasn't on that family side at all. I wasn't married, nothing like that, didn't have a kid. So my dream was cars, vacations, that type of stuff. And I'll say, working for that, I was working pretty hard to get that dream of buying a sports car, or whatever it may be, and just kind of pushing myself for that. Whereas now it's larger purchases. So thinking smarter. When you buy a car, you just got to have $5,000, whatever it may be. Trying to buy property, however, you got to have a whole lot more money. So you got to think smarter. You got to think about going with stocks, or reducing your liabilities, all that type of stuff. So definitely, as your dreams increase, your work ethic increases, which kind of builds on you, kind of makes you a better person, have bigger dreams, and kind of going about it that way. But I mean, that's just kind of my real quick piece on that.
Mr. Rantman Brady, aka Nino Brown, today. What are your
Hey,
thoughts about it? What are your thoughts?
I'll break it down like this, bro. I like what y'all said. What is your dream worth? So I'm gonna put it like this: it ain't for me. It ain't materialistic, and contrary to popular belief, because a lot of people think I'm all about the money, but it ain't about the money. It's about getting my time back, my time freedom. But I need people to understand something though. It's not always when I say, what is your dream worth? I'm not talking, it's not monetary. It's not no, when I put a price on like a million, a billion, whatever. Nah, it's, are you willing to wake up? I'm gonna put it like this. I'm in the stock game, and that's what y'all probably hear me talk about a lot. I, I've been in all type of realms of like stock, crypto, all that. When you start saying, what is your dream worth and getting your time back, you have to understand something. It's an opportunity cost, right? Do you want to live now, doing shit that makes you uncomfortable so that you could chill later? Or do you just want to go with the flow and not have no plan? So when I start thinking about what is my dream worth, it's waking up at 5, 6 in the morning every day, getting on calls to talk about stocks. It's waking up, hitting the gym. It's putting in the extra hours even when I don't feel like doing it, even when I don't want to do something. That's what it's about for me. That's what my dream is worth to me. It's about all the sacrifices. It's about cutting people off, because that's something that you got to do. You can't be cool with everybody because everybody don't have the same vision as you. Everybody don't have that same mental as you. So you have to understand what is your dream worth? Do you want to sit out here and look cool and da 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 da, or do you want to actually have whatever it is you're trying to attain? You got to be sitting here saying, am I willing to build every day? I don't even take days off. I'm literally doing something Monday through Sunday, working towards the end goal. And like I say, everybody's end goal is different. Mine is just putting everybody on around me and building so that, you know, when I get my own family, they good, they set. And to me, that's priceless. I don't mind, you know, yeah, I got, you know, you're going to run into them days where you're going to be stuck and, you know, you don't want to do nothing. And that's fine. You know, the thing is, though, you got to fall in love with the process, man, because once you make it, yeah, you might have to chill for a little bit and go and lay low and, you know, start grinding it out like that. When you start looking down the road, once you make it, how you going to stay there? How you going to stay at the top? How you going to stay on top of your game? And if it's money for you, it ain't about what you make, man. It's about what you keep. So how you going to keep that bread? So that's what I need everybody to understand. When you start talking about what is your dream worth, are you willing to put in the sacrifice? Are you willing to do stuff that other people don't want to do? Are you willing to live like no one else? So later you can live like no one else, because that's what it is. But also understand something that comes with a lot of sacrifice. And that's what a lot of people tend not to think about. They just want to think about, they see the end product. You start looking at people like the Kobe's, the LeBrons, you got the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk. You start looking at where they at now, but you wasn't seeing Kobe when he was out there grinding, shooting 100 shots a day. You know, you weren't out there looking at LeBron when he was out there doing everything, when nobody was watching, when he ain't had the fans out there screaming, when nobody even knew who he was. It wasn't like that. So I need people to understand, yeah, you might have potential, but that's all potential is. It's just potential until you go become a living embodiment of that and make something actually happen. You go execute. So what is my dream worth? It ain't got no price on it. It's priceless. It is worth every sacrifice I've made. It's worth waking up, staying up late, going to work, getting off work, still looking at this stuff, still studying, still researching, still building knowledge every day. Because guess what? Now you built habits. And like I say, habits turn into routines and routines turn into lifestyle. So that's what it's about for me. It's about building a lifestyle. And a lifestyle for me is freedom. Freedom from having to worry about waking up and going to a job every day. Freedom of having to not worry about working for somebody, being on their time. It's about being on your own time, man. That's what my dream is worth to me, that end goal. But again, it's levels to that. You got to work your way up to that. You don't come out the womb running. You come out, you can't do nothing. Then you learn how to crawl. Then you learn how to walk. Then you get into that jog phase. Then you can hit that full sprint. And then you build a stride. So that's what I want people to think about, though, when you start talking about what is your dream worth.
Gotcha. Now let's dig a little deeper into this, because there's a couple of things that, and this may hit home for a couple of us, but when it comes, because in my eyes, I got family, Devin got family, Ollie, he over there, lonely himself over there in his apartment and stuff, but
boy, you tripping. Haters gonna hate, man. That's all good. Haters gonna hate. We just selective over here. We can't let everybody in our space. It's sacred.
So my thing is, at the time you're in your process, we're all in our processes, wanting to do, open up that time that we want to have with our families. Now, I'm in a relationship. I got a kid. Devin relationship, got a kid. In that space, and then of course, Ollie, you can even speak to this. Where does it come to a point that you may have to sacrifice time with your own family that you got going now?
Yeah. So, to answer that one, I know for sure it's tough, because I know when I was single and kind of just doing my own thing, it was easy to get home at 5:00 and work on something or watch instructional videos or watch YouTube videos or whatever it is. I could do that till 3 a.m. And that was just my thing. I didn't have anyone to call. I didn't have anything to do. I could eat whenever I wanted to, do all that stuff. But now it's different, because let's say I get home at 5 or 6 o'clock. Well, I'm going to spend time with my child. I'm going to spend time with my wife. I have to eat dinner. I have to do the bedtime stuff and everything else. Now let's say it's 11 o'clock at night and you're tired. You're tired. Your wife's saying, hey, come to bed, all of that. I haven't seen you all day. So at a certain point, it's not only you understanding the dream, but your significant other understanding that dream as well. Because there is going to be sacrifices for a few weeks, months, years, whatever it may be. that both are going to have to make to accomplish one person's goal. So it is like a deeper understanding that I guess over the years you kind of develop, but it's a sacrifice on both people, really, as far as that's concerned.
That's it, man. And let me talk first. Mr. Single Man over there, because understand in this situation, relationships are difficult. It's a difficulty when it comes to trying to push for a goal or an idea, or for your why, because of the fact that you don't know what type of person that you may be with, man, woman, what say you, they might not be acceptable to what you're trying to do or what your goal is. you know, Sometimes, hey, you might be just more in depth in love with that person because of the fact that, for any other reasons and stuff, but it's a big sacrifice because at the end of the day, they want your time, just like you want to give your time to other things. You got to be able to sit there and feed your family as you can. Make sure, because you got to be the breadwinner that comes home every day. Make sure the food's ready and all that. And this, it's time consuming. But if I give anybody else any advice, if it's to the point, hey, if you don't have kids and you're single, you're by yourself, god damn it, go get it. Go get the bag, because this at that time is when you have the most time to give to your craft. And I've seen many of people who kind of screw that up because, hey, they just want a, 6 to 7 month relationship where they could have just been, 6 or 7 months deep in the finances or, the stocks, had their money right and actually pushing something much bigger. But a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people can't make sense of it. Not everybody's on the same train as certain people who see the bigger picture in regards of their dream, because that dream could just be a dream. People who dream tend to still be asleep, but hey, once you wake up, what you gonna do with it? You're gonna put it to, you're gonna put it to work. You're gonna put the time into it. Like, what can you do? Family and kids is a big thing, and it's kind of hard to sacrifice time to get away from them unless you have those, significant others that are going to provide, understanding to what you're trying to do and understanding the steps that you got to take, just because of the fact of where you want to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however you want to take it, your actual game plan. Those are my thoughts on that. Ali, you're a single man. You all always by yourself. It does. I ain't gonna get mad at you, but what are your thoughts on the situation, man?
So, as most of y'all know, I am single. It's a double-edged sword because, hey, I'm still a man at the end of the day. I still deal with women, sometimes more than one at a time. I ain't on nothing like ain't nothing like that. These guys pretty much know what I be doing, so it is what it is. But I ain't forget all that. It's two sides to this because I've done relationships, committed relationships, and a lot of times for the reason they don't work out is because I put my dream ahead of all that. So that what happens is in time you kind of figure out the path you want to go. So now me, I have women. I have women I talk to and all that, but am I in a relationship? Nah. But it's because I understand now that I gotta have somebody that's got the same realm or at least the same vision and mindset as me. Because back in the day, you start trying to bring somebody up, and don't get me wrong, this ain't for everybody, and that's fine. That's okay. And if you end up with somebody that I've been with girls that this wasn't their thing, like doing the entrepreneurship route. And that's fine, it is what it is. But you still have to be accepting. I feel like the like whoever you with has to be accepting of the lifestyle you living or what you're trying to, and they got to see that vision just like you. They don't necessarily have to have the same vision, but they got to be able to see the same thing that you're trying to do. And when I say this, it's kind of because I've been in this situation. More times than a little bit. I've been in this situation, so I can really speak to it. And if somebody don't see the vision, to see the dream, they just think that it's just about me. It kind of takes a toll. I mean, don't get me wrong, relationships will work. We've all been in relationships. Even if you're single right now, listen to this. You been with a woman, and I mean, sure, at one point you think you love that woman, but you have to understand sometimes some things just ain't meant to be, and sometimes that just ain't conducive to what you're trying to do right now. And that's okay to have that understanding. That's what I like to tell a lot of people, especially like, now in this generation, it's not always. I mean, yeah, you got people that's married, but that's not always the main thing. People just want to be happy, and I mean, that's happiness is whatever it is to you. Everybody's happiness differs. So for me, when I start thinking about my dreams and stuff like that, I like to express this stuff head on when I talk to women, because you gotta see their response to it, and you have to be able to understand, like, hey, is this something that you cool with or willing to like deal with? Because it's gonna be days, like anybody could tell you that's doing this and trying to make something happen for themselves. It's gonna be days when you want to quit and give up and all that. You need. I'm wrong. I go to females way more than guys, because sometimes guys we just be in competition all the time. We got to do better with that. But you need women. Women keep you grounded, and I attribute a lot of the things and how I maneuver in life to the women in my life, because I could go talk to them about certain stuff I can't go talk to somebody else about, because they're going to think you look weak, or they're going to think you vulnerable, da-da-da-da-da. And so, yeah, I got a squad of women in my life, strong black women, and they keep me focused, and they keep my eye on the prize. And this ain't even on, it could just be platonic, but it's just somebody that understands and sees what you're trying to do. So it ain't about really single or relationship or not, because I've been on both sides of it. I mean, I don't have no kids or nothing, gratefully. I mean, I'm not married and that, so I don't need none, no way, you feel me?
So you got no kids running around, man?
Nah, see, we don't even play like that. Don't even put that on me. Ain't gonna be no kids till a ring get on the finger, you feel me? And that's just what it is. But as far as, being single, People want to say the family lifestyle. I don't know the family lifestyle, but this single lifestyle hard, because you got to juggle. You still a man. You still got wants and needs. So you got to juggle that with your grind. And sometimes you don't run into the best of situations. I've been in every situation in the book you could possibly. If you could think of it, I've been in it. So saying that, it's a juggle. I mean, you find that balance, but when I say what is the dream worth compared to being single or a relationship, I mean, I've had women that supported me, but they want more of me. That's speaking of like what Devin and Mark were saying. When you're in that relationship, you have to understand what comes with it, and that's a whole another job in itself. So now you're talking about, you might have a day job, you might have your side hustle. Now you got to work on your relationship, because that's a job. Like people say, oh, you love this person, you love that person, man. I'd have been there. It's one thing to be in love, man, but it's one thing to work to keep that love alive. So I just tell people, whether if you're single, you have great opportunity, but you have to understand it's a bigger pitfall for you, because you're dealing with so much. You don't have no grounded, no like set structure for you. So you got to maneuver a little bit differently. And then also you have to keep in mind, some people like that whole aspect of, I got it from the bottom and this person was with me while I was on that journey, compared to, you get to that point, which, now, I mean, I'm broke at the end of the day. I'm broke. I ain't got no money. But, when you're doing all right and more people start to come out the woodworks, and now you got way more options and stuff like that, just because of your status, then it becomes a bigger pool you got to sift through. And that's like treading water, man. Like, that's tough. So I just tell people, you got to be mindful of all the situations, whatever realm you're in. If you're single, ain't nothing wrong with it. Hell, I'm saying people seem like in this generation, for sure, people like getting married later and later. These guys older than me. So yeah, when they were 2 years ago, they was barely doing this relationship stuff. So I mean, not we. I'm just saying, I'm the young one of the bunch. So I mean, I take what the advice they give me. I take it, but at the end of the day, I'm chilling right now until I find somebody that's on the same frequency as I am. I got the same mentality as me, because I'm real big on, you have to grow together. I'll say that with your partner. And if you don't grow together, what ends up happening oftentimes that we see is somebody gets left behind. So, and I can say that's probably something that happened with my last relationship. She wasn't really fucking with what I had going on. I worked too much. I didn't have time for her and all this. And I'm just like, I'm trying to make something happen. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like that I ain't making no excuse for myself. I could have done better, but a lot of times people don't understand. Like you start growing and doing more stuff, and if somebody else is setting their ways and they want to do their own thing, you start realizing like, well, maybe this ain't what I thought it was, because you're still growing every day, and so you, like I say, your growth and your self development is important because then you understand what type of person you are, and but at the same time, you got to understand, like I've mentioned on the intro. Sometimes they're just temporary in your life, and it may be a lesson to that person being in your life compared to them being a staple in your life and being there forever. And I mean, whenever you find that person, I mean, ain't no timeline to this. That's another thing people need to understand. Stop trying to put a timeline on it because you've seen somebody else do it in this amount of time. Like, yeah, you might have the same goal and end goal as somebody else, but you got to understand you on your own clock. I know little kids that's millionaires and that's doing it because being on the social media space and with my other podcasts. But I also know people that they like the Warren Buffetts who didn't get that till later on down the road, and I mean that's fine too. Rome wasn't built in a day, and sometimes that quick success ain't always the best because if you get it too fast, then you don't even understand the process. So I just want to say, single or not, you got to keep your mind, you got to keep your eye on the vision and make sure whoever you go through this journey with, if you're a man, you go get a woman, if turn her into a wife and y'all have a family, or even if you're a woman, you'll get a husband and y'all do your thing. You just have to understand that y'all's end goal, just make sure y'all communicate that and y'all build together because that's the key. Because you don't want to overshadow somebody or have them feel like they're getting left behind. Because I've seen it, I've dealt with it. I'm sure these guys could attest to it. You outgrow people, and then it's like, damn. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and then to kind of touch on what Ollie was saying, the other tough thing I know in previous relationships is in this entrepreneurship journey, usually the first thing, well, I'm not going to say usually, but sometimes the first thing that you set your mind on isn't the thing that succeeds. So when you put timelines on things, let's just say you're dating someone and you're like, hey, I'm gonna open a Shopify store. You open the Shopify store and then in 3 months it fails. So then you're like, well, I'm gonna open up an Instagram influencer thing or something like that. And you're constantly doing these new things, trying to find your niche, find where your space is and all this. And for your partner, they might start saying like, dude, you're just wasting time. I mean, you failed 3 times. What are you doing? It's been a year, whatever it may be. So not only is it the understanding of this is what I'm gonna do, but understanding, like Ali was saying, it's a journey and it's a process. And that process could take a lot more time than you think. It's not going to just be the first thing I'm going to do. We're going to become millionaires. You'll never have to work. It might take 8 different things before you finally find the thing you're good at and kind of pursue it from there.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And as they both said, relationships are it's tough, but if you can find somebody that's gonna be able to rock with you and follow the dream, understand it, hey, you're gonna be cool in the journey. It's gonna be A1, just moving forward. And just kind of want to go into something else in regards of what your dream was. So let's talk about them sacrifices. One thing is in time. How often have y'all, because I know myself, like every single day, like clockwork, I wake up at 5 o'clock. So 5 o'clock, I got to do something. Got to figure out how to do something. But my thing is, some people may not be motivated like that to wake up at no 5 o'clock just to figure out, hey, you know what, this is what I need to go ahead and do just to get that extra time in my actual day. So then that way, hey, everything's in order, everything's organized, not only in their mind, but within their day to day, especially with families or, people who got, 9 to 5 jobs and things. So I guess it's kind of shed a little light on, y'all's separate processes on how y'all attack the day to go ahead and go for y'all's dream.
Yes, I mean, I guess for that one, so a few people can wake up early. I don't know. Football messes up for me. I can't wake up at 5 a.m. I'm not even gonna lie. So for me, it's easier to do the late nights than it is the early mornings. So I mean, I wake up at the usual time, probably like an hour before I head to work, do my stuff, take my child to daycare, go to work, and my big times is you got that hour lunch break. So during that lunch break, I mean, you could be working on your dream then. So any type of phone calls you need to make, any appointments you need to set, any type of quick research. Like for me, people are hitting me up throughout the day. Well, I can't really look at my phone. So during that hour, that's when I'm getting back in touch with everyone. And then after work, I mean, I got that hour drive back home. So then I'm doing phone calls, then kind of listening to different podcasts or different research on that. And for me, it's easier to sacrifice my night. So if everything's stopping at 10:30, it's easier for me just to go from 11 to 2 or whatever it may be to then get that further research, any of the programs I need to set up or websites, anything I need to do. I mean, to me, it's easier to do nights. So I'm sure for Ollie, he wakes up and all that. So I mean, for him, it might be easier in the mornings. But I guess let's see, Ollie. What do you? How about for you?
Hey, Ali, just for the record, you heard this, man. He's up at night. So if he ain't responding to nobody's text message,
Hey, yeah, I was
he
about to
wide
say something.
awake.
I was really about to say something about that. Like, okay. But I'm gonna say this: none of y'all want to do or try to do all the shit I got going on. It's good and bad to it because my lifestyle, you can get burnt out real quick. That's all I'm gonna say. When you start having a juggle, because I do a lot of things. I try to stay tapped into crypto. I try to stay tapped into stocks. I'm working on I just officially made my LLC. I'm trying to figure out the path for that. I gotta stay tapped into social media because that's the thing nowadays, and not only that, I got to build relationships outside of that. And then I got to go to work. I work 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day. Then I get off work and it's like, damn, you come home, you got to think, am I going to put in a couple more hours trying to do this or am I just going to chill? And I mean, at this point, yeah, I've gotten it down to a structure and I understand like after a few weeks or a month, I got to take a few days of a break just to kind of keep my sanity. So the things that I do, it's a lot. It's a lot going on, but I at this point I've gotten it pretty structured down to I have certain things. I don't have time blocked off per se, but I got tasks for the day that I know if I just need to get this stuff accomplished throughout the day, and that'll all help towards the bigger goal at the end, down the road. That's kind of how I built my structure around my day. And if anything else comes up that I feel like I need to implement it in, like I'm back in the gym and stuff, so I just wake up a little bit earlier. I mean, it's days you're gonna be like, damn, I don't want to go, and I mean, it might be a day where I don't go, and I just try to make that up on the back end. So I just tell everybody, when you start trying to figure out a time block for all of this stuff, start small. Don't do like I did. I mean, luckily, I was fortunate enough to find certain things at different times, so I'm more knowledgeable about crypto because I did put in that time back when this was 2-3 years ago. These guys can attest to it. Back when I was in that space and I was researching, I would literally wake up at 7-8 in the morning and I'd be doing research and doing everything until I go to work at 5 p.m. at night, and I get off work and I do some more, and then I wake up, and it was just every day. And so that gave me a foundation to understand the whole realm of investing, of what I felt like I could afford to enter into. And, we fast forward and, I found stocks and, options, and I sat down and I learned that craft, and now I'm learning the options craft, and now I'm kind of branching into the real estate game, but I have foundations with other areas of what piques my interest and what I'm good at and what I built a skill in to where I can take more onto my plate, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself too quickly, because what that'll do is it'll get to a point where it'll just overload you. And it's like That's like back in the day where you used to have a little Xbox and they get the little red rings. If it's too much going on, you're just gonna shut down and you're just not gonna do nothing. So that's what I try to tell people: don't overload yourself. Keep it focused, keep it streamlined, because it just makes life a little bit easier. And once you know what you know, can't nobody take that from you. And I mean, you could, and you don't have to put as much time towards that. So, like I said, I built a foundation in a couple of things, and now if I want to add something to my plate, I understand how to do that, and I built relationships now where I could streamline that. So that's a key for me as far as keeping my ducks in a row, and mainly if nobody get nothing else out of this, just don't overload yourself and overwhelm yourself with a bunch at once, because it's just going to be a recipe for disaster. And I mean, I've been down that path too. Like I've tried everything that you could think of to get money. I try to bounce ideas off these guys all the time, and they can tell you, like, I always got something else going on in my brain. But I mean, at the end of the day, I built foundations to where I have something I can always go back to and fall back on. And I know I'm good. So when you couple that with a job, and like I'm single, so you couple that with a job, dealing with women, that's a lot going on. And so it can get hectic and overwhelming. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, I know like every 3 weeks or so, I gotta chill for at least 2-3 days. And that don't mean I'm just necessarily cutting everything off from that realm. That just means, I'm not going as hard, just for a couple of days. And I mean, everybody's different. You got to understand yourself when you get into the game of, you want to do this entrepreneurship thing. You have to understand yourself and what type of person you are, because no two people are the same. You can't take the same path. Like I can't take the same path Devin said. You see, he said he's the night out. He don't even care about getting up. Mark say he don't mind getting up. And I mean, I don't care about none of it. It don't matter to me either way. They used to call me the little vampire in high school or whatever. And that's fine. I just I don't mind sacrificing to that extent. And like I said, everybody's different though. But you have to understand what type of human being you are when you start on this journey. And like I say, whatever hustle you're trying to pursue, whatever you're trying to pursue, you just got to understand that, because that's the key in anything you're going to do in life. If you want to come invest, if you want to go do the business owner route, if you want to go do, even family life, you have to understand yourself, because that's going to attribute to a lot of your whys of why you do things the way you do them and how you handle certain situations. So that's my little piece. I ain't sitting here to go on no tangent or nothing.
I mean, Mr. Brady, Rand Brady don't want to keep on going. No, there's a lot of good information here, especially, I mean, because either way it goes, and you've seen it from every single one of us. Dreams, we go for our dreams in different ways. I'm an early bird. They night owls, early birds. A lot of things going on, a lot of time, a lot of things, a lot of focus that really comes into it. With me, I know my biggest thing is I like to at least work out, go to the gym, do something here at the house just to get my mind going, or at least, get that energy released to the point that I can actually relax and hone in on, hey, what I really need to do, what needs to be done, what can I really get focused on? Because a lot of things that I've researched, a lot of things that I've seen, and I've seen it work for me just by doing, is me getting up early, getting it, working out, and then all of a sudden, hey, take a shower, grab my coffee, and get to it. Try to, do a little bit of research, listen to a little bit more, a couple other podcasts, YouTube videos, just to see how other guys are really doing it, and with my dreams, just trying to build on it each and every single day. If I can add something little to it, to my routine, I always will, change it here and there, just because of the fact that, hey, maybe something that I wasn't doing before isn't working, what it should be. So, hey, let me go ahead and fix it, and I've learned a lot listening to you guys each day. And then all of a sudden, like I said, doing my research on looking at other guys on how they did it. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what you can add from from your experience in life. How you want to be successful, how you want to make sure that your dream tends to become reality, in the near future, or, your 5 to 10 years from now, and that's always the biggest thing. Um, now, just another one of these other questions that I have, because of course it is a big thing, and I feel it's a huge thing because a lot of people really want to do it. Um, how big is it to the point that your relationships that you build with friends, tend to go towards your dream? Are they, do you see them as an uplifting figure? Do you have friends that you just feel like, hey, they really just not catching on to the dream, like they, that how you're doing it? Like, I guess, what are y'all's thoughts on that? Because I know how friendship is a big thing, and these are certain people that actually you tend to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Uh, I could talk to that. So for me, it's different levels to this. Who I keep in my circle, and I'm kind of just a loner guy or whatever. I keep certain people in my circle that I feel can impact me some type of way positively. I mean, I don't necessarily have to be. It ain't always got to be about business for me. Just anything, just to uplift you, whatever. Somebody that you know is gonna have your back. Somebody that's gonna stay solid through everything. And that's kind of where I'm at with it right now at my point of life. You understand, it's more than just business with everything. Don't get me wrong, that's a big part of what I do and everything, but you have to understand, you have to have solid people around you that's just gonna keep it a buck with you at all times. That being said, though, I've come across a lot of people because of what I do with my podcast and stuff like that and the platform I'm building, where you realize like you can have two types of people in your life. I have people that I go to just strictly about business, and I got people that I go to just strictly just on some I'm just chilling, I'm just me type stuff. So, and that's where relationships come in. That's key because you have to understand balance. Like you can't just some people will say, "Oh, just pour everything into something." That's fine, you can do that, but it's gonna come a point in time where you're gonna want to take a step back and do something else, or just be around, people that are in a different lane. And don't get me wrong, if you're fortunate enough to have some people that's cool with doing the business and the pleasure part, that's cool too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You ain't got to have two separate crews or nothing like that. But you have to understand, not all of my friends are gonna mix with Devin and Mark. Not all of theirs gonna mix with us, and that's fine. That ain't no love lost or nothing like that. You just have to understand that. Just make sure you are. I like to tell people, make sure you're selective of who you let into your space and who you give your energy to. Just on the strength of you don't want to waste a lot of energy on people that have no benefit. There's no benefit in it, and like it's not just one way streets. You need to be mutually beneficial to each other. Same thing goes with relationships. You don't want to have no toxic relationship where there's nothing good coming out of that. So I just tell everybody to be wise with who you let in your circle, and when they do show that they're not who you thought you were, be comfortable, letting that go. And I get it; it's harder for some people than it is for others. But again, that just goes to the fact of what is your dream worth? The main point of this whole thing. That's what people need to understand when they start putting people in their circle and when they start interacting and building relationships with people. Because it's going to be people out here, I promise you. I see it now with what I'm doing. It's going to be people out here you think they got it all figured out, and you think you thought they was one way until you actually start to interact with them and you start building a relationship with them, and then you realize, nah, this is just smoke and mirrors, and they ain't what you thought they was. Just because they got money, they ain't what. At the end of the day, money ain't going to change the type of person you are. Success ain't going to change the type of person you are. We got our core values at the end of the day that's embedded in us. So I just tell people be mindful of who the company you keep, and like I say, this ain't got no age to it, no timeline. Just be mindful.
Yeah, I mean that's spot on. Pretty much all it was saying the same things I was thinking with. Pretty much watch who you share your energy with, because I just know earlier in my life, I mean, a few of the different circles I was in, kind of like when I used to do social media, like when I was big into social media marketing. I mean, you're in a whole bunch of groups. I own a Facebook group with 3,000 people in it. So you make a lot of those connections, like Ali was mentioning with his podcast. He's making tons of different relationships. All of a sudden you get involved in their circles. So it's the same with me. I'm getting involved in a lot of circles with a lot of people that would say they're gurus or whatever it may be. And as you start working with them, and you start building stuff, and it's like, dang, this doesn't feel right. And all of a sudden, your image, like I was building this personal brand. This is what we're doing with our podcast, building a personal brand. So then your personal brand starts getting tainted, and then it kind of gets you in that negative headspace. And then all of a sudden, all your other opportunities start failing as well. So definitely watch who you're sharing your energy with, who you team up with, who's in your circles. And like I have a few circles where it's just a bunch of business folks. Honestly, I probably wouldn't talk anything personal with them. It's just like straight business. I got some where it's just a bunch of friends from high school, from my younger years. And then I have some that are like a mix of, we can joke around, but then we can also talk about some serious stuff about growing a future for all our families. So it's definitely important to have that fine line and kind of knowing who you are. And once you know who you are, kind of who you can connect with and go from there. So, I mean, that's just my quick piece off Ollie's.
And let me say something real quick. In 2021, I'm killing that guru expert. We killing all that. I don't care, man. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, I'm an expert in this, I'm a guru in this. I know people that's been in the game and doing what they've been doing 15, 20 years that don't even consider themselves no expert. So can we please kill this, I'm a guru, I'm an expert? And let me tell you something. Don't y'all hesitate. We talk about circles. Don't y'all hesitate to pull somebody's card, man, and make sure they know what the hell they're talking about when they come to you. Especially when we talk about the business realm. There's too many people out here that you have too many avenues now where you could just bite off what somebody else said and that you could just go pull something from what they said or go, you know, just sit in. Especially, hey, if y'all know about that app Clubhouse, there's a lot of capping on there. And I hate it. It's a lot of valuable information, but there's a lot of people out there that just lying and fronting. And I know because I know people in that space that know of these people and they ain't about nothing. So I ain't mean to go off on this, but that just struck a nerve when I heard that guru word. but again, let me just, if you don't get nothing else, I say this a lot, but get this, question everything. It is okay when these guys, they want to be like, oh, you know, they might tell y'all, Ollie know the stock game, Ollie do this. I'm no expert at all. I've been in this stock game for about a little over almost like a year and a half. I've been in the crypto space since about 2016. I don't by any means know everything. I do a lot of research. And if you want to put in 15-hour days researching, trust me, you'll know a lot too. And you could claim that you know a whole lot. But there's people that's been in this game, like I said, 15, 20 years that I look up to and that I refer to as my mentors and stuff. And just anything in life that's been doing business for a long time that don't consider themselves experts. They just consider themselves people that got insight on stuff and that can, you know, they try to mentor people and, you know, so they don't make the same mistakes. But we killing that whole expert and guru stuff because it's starting to get a negative connotation for me. And it's not it. And just make sure y'all pull people's cards. Y'all want to get, everybody asks me, you know, everybody hit me about stocks. Pull my card. I don't care. Tell me to see my portfolio. You know, that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If somebody wants to sit there and say, oh, I'm a real estate man, I got all the connects. Pull their card, ask some questions. Let me see what kind of properties you got. What's the return on the properties? Somebody tell you, oh, you know, back in the day, I was, you know, the king of football, this. All right, let's see them stats. Let's see what you was doing. You got anybody that can test this, see some film. It correlates to anything. Anything you want to do, it's going to be some proof out there that they can give you that'll correlate to their success. And you'll know if they're telling the truth or not. So that's all I want to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to trust but verify.
Hey,
that's one thing I've learned. Trust but verify.
Hey, everybody been burned, bro. And it's always the people that say they experts that burn you. And don't get me wrong, we got some people out there that they good and they craft and know what they're doing. But I'm not gonna get into that. You know, that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
We'll definitely go into another conversation about that. You know, but yeah, we got a lot of information, a lot of gems like that will drop today. The biggest thing is,
hold on.
You know, I guess somebody else got something else to say.
I just want to say this because we didn't hit on this, and it needs to be talked about. This whole thing is, you know, what's your dream worth? But I need people to understand something. Delayed gratification, right? Delayed gratification, you know, it's that road that you take. Like I mentioned, you know, you got LeBron and all them. They've been doing this all their life. And they wasn't immediate successes when they started. But later on down the road, they was able to see that. So I need you to understand, you know, when you're sitting there thinking about what is your dream worth and the different sacrifices you're willing to make or whatever goes into that thought process, understand all successes ain't immediate And there's some people out here that's done 15 different things before they finally found that overnight success that you would deem it as. Like you might look at somebody and say, "Oh man, look at them! They did this and that," and it's because you got on the wave. You know, you've seen them over the course of a year, but you don't know the behind the scenes. They've been working on that, 15 years. They're putting their time for 5-10 years. They paid their dues, and understand. Just keep going. I'll tell you one thing. If you don't get nothing, I'm gonna stop saying it. But if you get one thing from this shit, understand the grind is undefeated. But that being said, is who's willing to continue with that grind, and it's who's willing to go the extra mile, and who's willing to accept that this may not happen overnight. It may happen. Hell, you might be in that 10th year, and you don't figure it out to that 11th year. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I tell people, don't put no timeline on this. Just put in the work. And that's fine. It could be a crazy, rocky, painful road. It's a journey at the end of the day. So I just want people to understand, that's big, because a lot of people, they do this and they think, in 6 months I'm gonna be here. Ooh, in a year I'm gonna be here. That ain't a long time, dog. Like you figure you go to school for 10, 15 years and don't have it figured out. So, I mean, stop putting these short timelines on things and saying, oh, I'm going to have this accomplished at this point. Because you probably not. And then because you didn't, guess what? Now you done psyched yourself out and you give up. When if had you keep striving, you might be in that 9th year. You might have said, oh, in 5 years I'll be here. But it wasn't to that 6th year where it hit. So that's just what I want people to understand. Like, I didn't come into this, I'm sure Devin and Mark can attest this too. Things that we doing, we didn't just get it because, we was like, oh, I'm going to have it by this time. We just kept pushing. And when you get knocked down, understand, because it's going to happen. You're going to get challenged. You're going to get knocked down. You just need to adjust accordingly and keep going. Like, please just keep going. Whatever you do, keep going. Because that's important.
Yeah, 100%. Well, because, just on that piece right there. So throughout this podcast, one thing you'll know about me is most of my lessons were hard lessons I learned. So definitely listen to all this advice that we're kind of saying, because it's honestly through experience, because that whole delayed gratification, that is one thing I wish I did like years ago, like 5 to 8 years ago. I wish I really pushed that delayed gratification, because I know personally I'd be way ahead of where I'm at right now if I had. So but that's a different topic for a different day. So that's definitely one thing. And yeah, kind of touching on what Ollie always says, if you don't get anything from me, like I said earlier, just trust but verify. That's probably the biggest thing. It'll save you so much money and so much time. Is just to verify everything that you're getting. Anything that you're feeding into yourself, just verify it beforehand, and you'll be good from there.
Yeah, understand that road. Understand the people you tend to speak to. Understand the people you keep in your circle. And understand what process works for you. And those are big keys here that we hit. Of course, always appreciate everybody coming in, listen to. We, please, subscribe, like, give us your comments on this, because hey, we want to answer these questions. If there's something that we missed to talk about, let us know so we can talk about it a little bit more, because at the end of the day, we're all about trying to feed information, trying to help you understand. So in that way, in due time, if you go down the same road or somewhere close to starting, just know that, hey, we put that information into you, and all of a sudden now you understand, so you don't make the mistakes that a lot of us have made already, because of the fact that, hey, that's always the biggest thing. If we're not going to feed you additional information, I'm not going to feed you all the right tools, and it's the biggest thing that parents try to do, is they want to feed you the information because of the mistakes they have been through. So it's at that point that, hey, it's time to listen. It's time to open up your ears. Time to figure out your road, and grow up with your situation and try to understand that, hey, this is a process. But the only way you're gonna get through this process is if you understand other people's process that actually already went through it. Because doing it by yourself is difficult, and hey, there's easier ways to do it. But hey, it's all about you opening your ears and listening. So appreciate y'all tuning in to the Understand the Hustle podcast. My name is Mark. This is Ali. It's Devin. We're out.